What's cracking, guys? Bruce Madsen here, your host of Metric Scout Fantasy Football, and today we had some big news. Juju Smith-Schuster is now going to be on the Chiefs. He signed a one-year deal there. A lot of excitement here. A lot of people have been holding him on their Dynasty rosters for a long time. A lot of people have been speculative buying him on the cheap all offseason and throughout the year last year. And now it's time to reap the rewards. He went to the best spot possible. A lot of people are talking him up. A lot of people are talking him as a sell. And we're going to look at him in more detail right now. First thing I want to cover is his ADP. This is on dynastyleaguefootball.com. This is on their ADP overtime app, and really we just want to look at his career arc and how he's been valued, because he is honestly one of the most interesting players in Dynasty from a career aspect. Just the roller coaster ride from the Juju Smith-Schuster train that we have experienced over the years. 2017 as a rook, 79 ADP. 2018 overall at 27.75 ADP, and then things went bonkers in 2019 where he was a top 10 player in positional value. He was a top 5 wide receiver. Held his value in 2020, and then things started to go off the rails in 2021 and 2022. As of right now, before this deal happened, he was the wide receiver 42, 43, however you want to value that, if you want to round up. Overall, 84. Still kind of expensive compared to what you were getting. But, again, he was a falling knife. We didn't know where it was going. Now, we should expect his value in ADP to bump up a little bit. Him being on the Chiefs. Right now, again, positional value, 42, 43 at his position. We should see him bump up to, 35, 30 range. There's still going to be some people who are going to fade him a little bit. And also, we have a lot of young wide receivers in the league who have been productive and we're speculating on still. So he's not going to have a huge jump up. Also, he may be or should be the third option in the passing game on that offense. And historically, the Chiefs, they've been funneling the targets to Kelsey and Hill mostly. And it's been hard for the other wide receivers to get enough scraps to be productive. That might change with Juju. We have to see. We're still on dynastyleaguefootball.com. We're on their player scoring history app. We're just looking at what Juju Smith-Schuster has done over the course of his career. Yearly in-season stats, points per game in fantasy, almost 300 in 2018. 2020, not a bad year there. 234 fantasy points. Positional yearly finish that year. Wide receiver 16. And then we go down here for his 2020 season. He had 14.63 PPR fantasy points per game. Wasn't a bad year. Scrolling back up, I know I'm hard to keep up with. 2019 has been the dip in his production. And 2021, mainly injuries. Ben Roethlisberger's injuries as well. And bad quarterback play. And then go along with that, Juju hasn't been perfect either. A lot of people hate him on the TikTok dances and all that stuff. Going over his total weeks by position rank, he's been a top 5 wide receiver 6 times over his career. Finished in the top 12, so wide receiver 1 status 13 times. Wide receiver 2 status 14 times. Wide receiver 3 status 9 times. Rest of the time 27 times. Wide receiver 4 or worse. Yearly points per game, we've already looked at this, but we were going over just 2020 then. I'm jumping around a bit. In 2018, his big year, his blow-up year, 18.56 PPR points per game. His highest was a 27. 2020, again, 14. Last year, just 6.96. 2019, 9.6. So 2 dud years, 2 good years, a really good year, and an okay year. 2017 rookie season, 13.69. And that's it. So, he has been a player that was really productive in 2018. 2019, not so much. 2020 was very underrated. He had some production, points per game wise, or if you look at it from a week-to-week aspect, It does not equate to that really for us fantasy gamers, but it is an insight that he can be productive. 2021 was not great at all. Injuries, Ben Roethlisberger, bad quarterback play. A lot of variables here. The thing that we're going to have to ask ourselves with Juju Smith-Schuster is, what are we going to do with him in Dynasty? What do we want to do? Do we want to buy him? The price just went up. If you're going to buy him, you should have done it a while back. You shouldn't have done it during the speculative time in free agency. You shouldn't be doing it now. You could be doing it now. I don't think the price tag is going to be that much out of control. I think it's going to bump up a bit. I think there's going to be an equilibrium area where people are going to be buying them at. I imagine, if I had to guess, around a late first round pick. And the reason for that is, one, once you get to the middle of the second round, we all know from the prospects that it gets a little dicey. So if you're already buying them for mid-second round picks prior to free agency, and that manager already paid for that, they're going to want a return on the investment. They're also not going to sell him for a dicey wide receiver that's a rookie when you know you got Juju here, who's shown some production and is now with the Chiefs. You have to think about that. I feel like where managers are going to meet in the middle is that late first round area, maybe early second, 201, 202 range, but it's very speculatory. Selling, you're obviously going to want to reap the rewards here, get a major return on the investment. How much can you get for that? Can you get a high-end first? Probably not. Can you get a mid-first? Maybe. Can you get a mid-first and some prospects? Highly doubt it. But that's something you could probably shoot for. If I'm going to sell him, I want to hold the other manager over the barrel. The one thing I want to do is walk away with this trade with something I want. I'm not going to be trading just to trade. I'm not going to be buying just to buy. I'm going to do this with the mission of making my Dynasty Fantasy Football team better. The best thing to do here, as we always say on this channel, there's a value change with the player. This instance is Juju Smith-Schuster. We're just going to kick the tires and see if we can buy him at a reduced price tag than what market value is saying. And then we're also going to try and sell him and hold the other managers over the barrel just to see if we can reap the rewards. If nothing happens, I'm going to gladly hold him on my teams, enjoy some production, see what happens. But I'm not going to give him away. I'm not going to overpay for him. I'm not going to go crazy. I'm going to be right in the middle here, and I'm just going to see what happens. Of course, I'm going to sell him if someone's going to give me a first and a prospect I love, or someone's going to give me Devonta Smith, or someone's going to give me this wide receiver that I never thought I could get, or like the 105, the 103, or someone goes crazy over him because he went to the Chiefs. And you think that's an unrealistic scenario? I have people watching the show from all different spectrums, from the fantasy football community, industry, or whatever, and they're in different leagues, different managers. And two, we saw Clyde Edwards-Helaire get selected as the 101 in his rookie draft over Jonathan Taylor and everybody else because he went to the Chiefs. Because I know for a fact this industry goes crazy when a player goes to that offense because of how potent, high quality, and how much potential that offense has. And we know that Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce are the main go-getters in the offense when Mahomes is dishing the rock. But this could be a major value increase in some leagues. And if you get that major value increase, you may want to sell. If you don't, they're going to hold. And I'm cool with holding him. I think he's a very good player. I think he can be very productive in this offense. I wish he was there last year. I think he can thrive here. I think he can be a very productive wide receiver 3. I think out of all the wide receiver 3s they had, he fits the best. I feel like he can really develop with this team. And as Hill gets older, as Kelce gets older, and if he proves himself this year and gets extended, he could be a go-getter in the offense. He can be a target hog. He can just move his way up the depth chart of the target list for Mahomes. He's a good player. He's shown it throughout his career. He's had a lot of down moments that are really down and has been a roller coaster ride for Dynasty fantasy football players, but he's still a very solid wide receiver. You can get it done in the slot, and that's probably where they're going to have them play at. They're not jokers. The Chiefs are pretty good at managing their offense. They know where he excels at. They know what they need. Having Hill on the outside and having Schuster in the slot, working over short to intermediate routes is going to be the most optimal thing for them to do. Again, let's recap what I just said. We're going to just test the waters, kick the tires, and see what we can do with Juju, but we're not going out to sell. We're not going out there to buy. We're just going out there to see if there's a deal. If it's not happening, we're gladly happy to have him on our team. Enjoy the production, enjoy the ride, and we're not going to overpay for him. We're going to see if we can catch him on the deal or if we can oversell him. And if we can do either one of those two things, we're in the money, but we're not going overboard with Juju Smith-Schuster. But that's all I got for you today. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Every subscription matters. It fuels me to keep pumping out this content. It fuels me to keep helping you with your Dynasty teams and everything else. Again, I want to thank you, and I'll catch you next time.